Welcome back. This is part 4 of What If Civilization Started Over. If you've been watching this from part 1, thank you for helping me keep going with this series. I also got a comment from my last video that said that I wasn't counting for the Zagros Mountains, which would be wrong. I am counting for them. It's just that when an army goes through the Zagros Mountains, it costs them more, and I do count for that. And you guys don't have to worry, because every mountain range is tangible, and I count for it. The average height or elevation of that mountain range. The Zagros Mountains is high in some areas, and I will count for that every single time. So now that I got through that, we can begin. Okay, let's move fast. This is the first update. Ryari in the north creeps down the Black Sea and is about to meet up with Vari's area they just conquered, which is Vari has taken most of the Turkish territory. Krogel has been halted by the Mediterranean Sea in the west, but in the east they're starting to take the Turkmen area and Indian area in the south. Baden has been kind of creeping and hugging along the side of Krogel. Gatron has, by this point, has discovered just under half the Indian territory and is creeping down to the area down here, which is full of spices, which at this point are very valuable. Muspelheim was able to take a little bit more territory in the north, but they've been cut off by Krogel and Gatron. Ippolito is about to take the whole Saudi territory, or Saudi area. And the Nile Kingdom has now found a large part of Libya. Also has taken the Israel-Palestine area. And in the south, they have been creeping down the side of the Red Sea. A group of Ippolito's ships, massive voyage ships, discovered a large part of the eastern African Horn, which they like to call it. Then they came back, then a storm hit them, causing large parts of them to crash in two parts of Africa, and most of them did not make it back. And they're stranded here. That Ippolito does not know where they are. So they're still just trying to figure out what they're gonna do. Ryari has grown in size, not by much compared to others, but it has now fully connected with Vari. Speaking of Vari, Vari has taken lots of the islands down in the south. And now tensions also rise between Krogel and Vari has both claimed the island of Cyprus. Vari also has taken the small island, or medium-sized island, of the Greek Peninsula, or I don't know what to call that. They also discovered parts of Italy. Speaking of Krogel, it hasn't really changed. It has got a very slight amount more area in the east. Baden hasn't changed. They don't want to go north because it starts to get really cold. Muspelheim hasn't changed. Gattro. Jeez, what am I doing here? Gattro. Okay. Gattro has now discovered most of India. They're seeing all the spices down here, and they're trying to flood people here to help get these spices. Ippolito has now conquered the entire Saudi territory, and Nile Kingdom has moved along the coast of Libya. It hasn't gone south very much, but it has grown a little bit on the Nile River. To try to cool down the situation between Krogel and Vari, with Krogel pushing Vari around because they're a stronger country, they basically twist their hand to sign a treaty for a non-aggression pact and to try to settle some territorial disputes that very much favor Krogel more. But instead of relieving tensions, it brought up a whole bunch of tensions. But because Vari can't take on Krogel and none of the other nations around him were willing to try to help him, they are forced to accept the deal. A year after the signing of the Black Sea Conference, the Black Sea Conference was the conference between Vari and Krogel that heavily favored Krogel. And now that Krogel has started threatening Baden on territory around the capital, and Vari not liking the aggression that Krogel has been doing to the northern nations, they create an alliance and they plan to attack Krogel. Vari tried to also make alliances with the southern nations, but they all said that war is not in our best interests. Also, Muspelheim added that the people wouldn't stand for war. Vari, Ryari, and Baden declare war on Krogel. This is how the war started. Rebellions from the recent change in power, because in the north, the people up there are loyal to Vari. There's a little bit of blue in the small land that Vari got. And almost right at the bat, Vari pushes into the side, trying to get to the rebellions. Vari was able to encircle the majority of Blue's rebellions, and the one in Cyprus is completely taken down. the rebellions in the north were all taken except for 2 of them, which a big encirclement occurred. This one was also circled, but it was almost saved. And this one was completely encircled. Now, Ryari makes a big encirclement up the north, and Krogl, after decades, finally reconnects back to the Caspian Sea. Bad makes moves, but Krogl has impaired most of his army, which is more powerful. But the encirclement here didn't last very long, and Ryari's almost completely finished the encirclement in the north by Crimea. And a fatal error occurs in Vari's line as Vari troops move north, trying to cut them off of the Black Sea and try to make better connections to Ryari. In the fatal error that Vari made, a massive offensive that saved the troops that were encircled in the north, and a encirclement of a large amount of troops also happens. They also make another big push, which is about to be encircled, and most of the troops are trying to get out before the encirclement, but they haven't really get out yet. Doing that and relocating a lot of the troops up here, they're forced to retreat a lot of troops so they could try to save the troops down south. But Baden still makes more progress in the north. Next, the invasion from Baden halts, but the encirclement finally finishes, and another large amount of troops is encircled, put in siege. The lines flatten out a little bit before the push stops, and in the south, the war came to a halt, except for this encirclement that finally surrendered. In the north, one second. In the north, the Ryari battle came to an end. And again, the lines flatten out and was put in halt. For months, the war didn't move and nothing happened. So this is where we stopped the video. Hope you enjoyed, and if you for subscribing and liking, we'll encourage you to make another one. Please feel free to leave a comment, and see ya.